How do I pick a character? Do I just pick the best one? Is Zato easy to learn?
If you've got a little bit of character indecision and you're just jumping into Guilty Gear, well, this might be for you. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to Guilty Gear. I've just realized I've kind of just stolen Stylos' old intro as well. Because I did some videos for him and it's kind of pushed itself into my vernacular. Anyway, welcome to Guilty Gear. Hello, today we're going to take the character discussion. We're not just going to do the character discussion as well in terms of which character should I pick, but there's also a couple of things we should talk about regarding characters in general and how to go about picking them, and then how to sort of, I don't know, handle the mentality of people playing different characters than you, because there's some disturbing patterns already creeping through the Guilty Gear player base. First things first, if you are a new player and you're looking to pick a character, the best advice overwhelmingly is just to play a character you like. Even if it's the single most complicated character in the game, if you think they're cool for whatever reason, you like their looks, you like their playstyle, you like their big boobas, you like their feet, you like their British accent, you like their creepiness, you like their gorilla-ness, you like the himbo look, there's any reason, you like anime sword boys, Kai Kiske is right there for you, Kai Kiske is right there for you, and he's just waiting for you to pick up and play him. There might be a part of your brain going, well, maybe I should pick the best one. Everyone says Sol Badguy is the best character in the game. I heard he's top tier. People don't stop whining about him. The level that you will play at as a new player, it's so irrelevant to what makes Sol such a powerful character. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. The one thing that you should be slightly concerned with is perhaps how easy or difficult the character is. If you really like Zato, play Zato. If you're kind of on the fence and not sure about Zato, you might want to try a different character instead that you might like similarly. Because while there are tier lists and maybe relative power of different characters, first things first, we're in week 1, nobody knows, nobody has the right answers. Second, what determines those high-level tier lists is, again, very removed from, what makes... Chip could very well be top tier. We don't know. The amount of high-level Chip players that exist are relatively few, but he seems actually really, really good. Would I recommend a new player to pick him up? No, not really. He's extremely difficult and very punishing. Not really what you want for a new player, but if a new player wants to pick him up, more power to you. Go do it. Trust me. It's worth playing the character you want to play. The reason why I say all this is because, well, let's say you really want to be a Millia player, but you decide to pick Sol because, well, he's easier and you heard somewhere on the internet that Sol is really, really strong. What you'll do is you'll go and you'll learn how to play Sol, and you'll slowly but surely get a little bit tired and bored. You'll constantly be asking, man, when's the point that I should move on to play a different character instead? When's the point where I'll be comfortable and ready to go play Millia? And the simple answer is you probably never will be. You'll never quite hit that point, because there's always something new to learn, there's always something to refine, and there's always ways to grow and develop as a player. You might as well be doing that while playing Millia. And here's the real trick. At low levels, if you're playing well and consistently, you might be able to just smash through all the low ranks by just being consistent and good with a very, very simple bread and butter. This is kind of what I was talking about when we went through the other video a while ago about what you need to get into ranked. You don't actually need big, fancy, hard to execute combos to actually do well at low levels on the ladder. What you need are consistency and an organized mental stack, a concept we'll talk about later. The power of your character, therefore, isn't that important. What is important is, are they easy to use? And I'm going to make a semi-controversial statement, which is that, yeah, sure, some characters are a lot easier than others. A new Ram player will probably have a better and easier time than a new Chip player. But if you want to learn and play Chip, go and learn and play Chip. You will go through the feeling, and I guarantee this will happen to you. This happens to everyone when you play a fighting game and someone's playing an easier character and they win against you while you're trying something complicated. You might feel a little bit of resentment towards that character. Try and purge that instinct as best as possible. Part of it is you don't know what the struggles of that Ram player might be, but they might actually have problems with various things that you might find very easy to deal with at playing your character. For example, they have weaknesses and strengths in different areas to yours. Ram just happens to have a very strong neutral and very strong corner presence, and these tools are very effective when you are playing against new players. I think the final thing I want to say on picking a character, if you want assistance in picking a character, do not feel beholden to the character you pick first. If you decide to pick up Millia and decide, you know what, she's not for me, I don't quite like her, there is no shame in moving on to a different character. And some of the lessons you learn playing one character will apply to the others. You will pick up things that will help you out, and you will pick up things that will hurt you in terms of, you know, your muscle memory might be a little bit different. Playing Millia has given me muscle memory to do kick into 2D constantly at all times, and with some characters, that flat out just doesn't work sometimes. So there's strengths and weaknesses to everyone, but changing character is something that is normal, and especially as a new player, trying out different things is very, very useful and very powerful. Even just picking up characters to try out their moves and play a few games with them will give you a lot of experience in judging how that character plays, and understanding in some ways the weaknesses of the character that you've decided to play as for a little bit. Have fun with it, experiment. If you're new, your goal shouldn't be to become the greatest player in the world. Your goal should just be to have fun and try and get a little bit better every single time you play, maybe, because there is also nothing wrong, absolutely, with just playing the game just to have some fun with it. Experiment. You might find out that you really like boring anime sword boys. I'm not gonna judge you for it, much. You could love playing Kai, and more power to you for it, honestly. So let's see, we've talked through just play the character you want to play. Form a simple game plan with them, as simple as you can, and then build up over time using it. Do not be ashamed to move on with other characters, and try out other characters. There's nothing wrong with changing mains early on especially, but even later down the line, there's absolutely nothing wrong with swapping characters. Understand that it is natural to feel resentment when a quote-unquote easier character beats you doing something that feels cheap and cheesy, but they might have things that you don't know about that causes them problems that you can do, for example, as well. So it's just a matter of perspective. The grass is always greener on the other side of the road. And the final thing I want to talk about is some of you watching this might have gone, well, yeah, but Ram is just bullshit, right? She's literally in the main song. She is the bullshit blazing that it's referring to, right? Ram is so stupid. I hate Ram players. They're horrible people and should be burnt at the stake. Kill that mentality. Kill that mentality right now, because recently a high-level player by the name of Supernoon tweeted this, and I'm going to put it on screen so everyone can see what it says. And so Supernoon says, I usually don't get bothered by stuff like this. Earlier when I was streaming, some dude told me you should just die IRL for picking Ram, and it kind of had me in a weird mood all day from that point. Don't know why a character choice would make someone say that to me. Now, I'm sure you're also instantly going, well, it's just some rando on Twitch, it's just a kid being edgy and stuff like that. But this kind of mentality creeps its way through a community, and if you don't just slap people for being like this, and you don't slap people for being like, dude, calm down, it's a video game. If Ram's that strong, just pick Ram, for the love of God. If you don't slap people for that, what happens is kind of what happened in Overwatch, and you see this kind of creep through MOBAs a lot as well, of oh, you're just playing the powerful character? Yeah, I hate you, and they vehemently sort of get off almost on this hatred that stems inside them. It gives them an easy out to whine about a character that they're not playing and go, oh, well, I lost just because it's Ram. Ram can be strong. Ram's allowed to be strong. But don't hate the player, hate the game at worst. But honestly, just deal with it, Bab. Just keep your emotions in check there, son, because there's better things to get frustrated about than a video game. And it's a really dangerous mentality that creeps through. I also have seen Brian F., a content creator and quote-unquote pro Balrog player from Street Fighter, whose content I love watching. I like watching his streams. Go check him out if you haven't. He even says in the replies, I've been getting lots of straight toxic crap learning the game with Sol, and I'm starting to think some GG heads are just, 1, unable to differentiate between friendly roasting and being toxic, or 2, socially inept salt lords. And I do see this with Sol a lot, especially with Sol, where people will just go, oh, you're just a gorilla, you're just mashing buttons, when the Sol player could be very good, very technically proficient, and doing a lot of complicated and interesting things, but they're just, lol, Sol button, Sol goes brr, Sol mashes, lol, oh, you're just bad because you're a Sol player, yet you're in Celestial, and you're winning every game, but that's just Sol, lol, oh my god, you lost with him, lol, and it's that's not how you grow as a player, and some of it is memeing. But when you let this culture sit and fester, it's like a rot. Because there's this thing that happens when when everyone pretends, haha, and this is kind of what's happening. Everyone's like, haha, yeah, Sol's such a gorilla, Unga Bunga, am I right, bros? Then you get actual people coming in and going, Sol is just a gorilla, Unga Bunga, am I right, bros? Seriously. And like, oh, everything Sol does is just Unga Bunga and thoughtless and mindless. He's not actually thinking as a player. And you see the same with Rams, you see the same with Maze, you know, oh, lol, Toxicity, oh, she's just spamming dolphins, lol, how can you be good with Maid? You're just a gorilla. It's not a healthy mentality, and it doesn't help you grow as a player. And I think it's a mixture of things. I think there's just a lot of new people coming into Guilty Gear, myself included, although I have been playing other games sort of previously. And so as a result, you're also getting this tide of people who've come in from games like Overwatch, from MOBAs, from Valorant, from games where it's become very much the norm to complain and to whine and to gripe and to groan about various characters and just endlessly complain to try and maybe, you know, get them nerfed and kind of that stuff. I will say shout out to the Millia player community because it feels like we have a good thing going in what's called the Millia Downplaying Society, where everyone just says Millia's terrible. She might not be, she probably isn't, but Millia's terrible. If anyone asks, yeah, she's awful. She's terrible. Buffer. Otherwise, yeah, hopefully, if you do this kind of thing, if you do go into streams and just, you know, shout Unga Bunga at Sol players, give it a rest, knock that off, because it is tiring, and it's probably not doing you any favors in the eyes of anyone. And if you do get frustrated at people beating you for using supposedly easier characters, give that character a try. You might learn some stuff about the matchup that will let you beat them, and what I will guarantee is you'll eventually reach a point where that will stop working on you. Because there's so many of these players that exist, so many RAM players that will just skip by doing stuff like this all game, you will be able to find answers to deal with that, and then you will just start killing tons and tons and tons and tons of people online as a result. It's very useful, actually, that there are these kind of players, and they will exist in every single fighting game. They exist in every single game on the face of the planet. Whether it's people mashing out rushes in StarCraft, or people playing Doomfist in solo queue Overwatch and your team can't deal with them. It's something you're going to have to encounter, and once you learn how to deal with it and handle it, well, then suddenly those players lose everything in their arsenal, and you will just destroy them. The nice part, at least about Guilty Gear, is you can learn to deal with it in your own time, in your own way. You can lab it, you can just play online against it. If you have a friend or a community, you can ask someone to play against you and even try playing in this playstyle and beat them. Because there are so many ways to get past this kind of thing, yeah, you will just develop past it. And that's always the goal. Thank you for watching to the end. If this has been helpful in any way, let me know. If you do need advice and help on picking your character, there's no harm in asking, but always kind of understand that it is a personal decision at the end of the road. If you do want some general good new characters, Sol, Kai, Giovanna, Ram, probably the 4 I would recommend to a new player who really doesn't care about what character they're playing. And also, if you are just going to try and play the toppest of top tiers, 1, there's nothing wrong with that, actually. Playing powerful characters is fine. There's literally, again, no issues in just picking a character because they're strong if you like to play strong characters. The second thing is, those tier lists probably haven't settled yet. Characters are strong for different reasons. Right now, early on, characters with relatively simple but powerful tools will always be good, so that's why Sol, Ram, Mei, for example, are all doing fairly well. Especially in like the middle floors, that's where they're going to really be thriving. Otherwise, thank you for watching to the end. I've been Josh's one voice amongst many, and I'll see you on the next one. Toodaloo.